I still can't believe it. I mean, can you imagine, my own mother, sitting in the living room of the house I secretly bought, laughing and saying, "She's 30 and still renting a shoebox." She was talking about me, completely oblivious that every piece of furniture, every framed photo, every single brick of that house was paid for by her failure of a daughter. Was I wrong for letting her believe I was struggling, for letting her mock me while living in comfort I provided? Tell me, would you have done the same thing, or would you have exposed the truth right then and there? Let me take you back to where it all began, because this story isn't just about a house. It's about a lifetime of feeling inadequate, of constantly trying to prove myself to a woman who seemed determined to see me as nothing more than a perpetual disappointment. My name is Sarah, and I'm currently 32. For as long as I can remember, my mother, Eleanor, has had a very specific vision for my life. It involved a prestigious university, a high-flying corporate job, a husband with a six-figure salary, and a sprawling house with at least 3 children by the time I was 28. Anything less than that, in her eyes, was a catastrophic failure. I, unfortunately, did not fit into her meticulously crafted plan. While I was a good student, I wasn't top of my class. I chose a university that offered a fantastic art program, much to her chagrin, instead of the Ivy League schools she pushed. My passion was graphic design and digital art, a field she consistently dismissed as frivolous and unstable. After graduating, I started freelancing, building a portfolio, and slowly but surely making a name for myself. But to my mother, freelancer translated to unemployed and wasting her potential. My younger brother, Mark, on the other hand, was her golden child. He followed the traditional path, went into finance, and quickly climbed the corporate ladder. He had the right kind of friends, the right kind of girlfriend, and everything he did was met with beaming approval from Eleanor. I loved my brother, and he was always kind to me, but even he couldn't escape the subtle favoritism and the constant comparison. Every family dinner was an opportunity for my mother to subtly, or sometimes not so subtly, highlight Mark's achievements while lamenting my struggle. The shoebox comment wasn't new. For years, I'd been living in a small one-bedroom apartment in a decent part of the city. It was perfectly comfortable for me, had great natural light for my work, and was affordable. But my mother called it a shoebox. She'd say things like, "When are you going to get a proper place, Sarah? Something you can actually entertain in? Or don't you want to start saving for a down payment? You're not getting any younger, and rent is just throwing money away." What she didn't know, what asterisk no one asterisk knew, was that I was doing incredibly well. My freelance business had taken off in ways I could only have dreamed of. I had secured long-term contracts with several major companies. My art was gaining recognition, and my income far surpassed anything my mother imagined for me. I was disciplined with my money, saving aggressively and investing wisely. One day, about 2 years ago, I started looking at houses. Not because I needed a bigger place, but because an opportunity arose that was too good to pass up. A beautiful, moderately sized house in a lovely neighborhood, close to my parents, came on the market. It was a fixer-upper, but had incredible bones and potential. The price was fantastic. I saw it as a solid investment, a step towards building real wealth. And then an idea sparked in my mind. My parents, particularly my mother, had always dreamed of upgrading their home. Their current house was old, needed constant repairs, and my mom often complained about its size and outdated kitchen. They had talked about moving for years, but finances were always tight, and my father, bless his heart, was content to just keep patching things up. I knew they wouldn't qualify for a new mortgage that would get them into the kind of house my mother truly desired. So I bought the house, all cash. I closed the deal quietly under my name, and then spent the next year and a half renovating it entirely. I hired contractors, an interior designer, and oversaw every single detail, transforming it into a modern, elegant, and incredibly comfortable home. I poured my heart and soul, and a significant amount of money, into making it perfect. During this time, my mother continued her usual routine of asking me when I'd get a real job and move into a proper place. I would just smile, nod, and make vague comments about working hard and saving up. She seemed to interpret this as confirmation of my ongoing struggles. Once the house was finished, I came up with a plan. I approached my parents, feigning concern. "Mom, Dad," I said, "I know you've been wanting to move for ages, and your house is really showing its age. I've been doing well with my freelance work, and I've saved up a bit. I found this amazing house. It's been fully renovated, and I think it would be perfect for you too. I could put down a substantial amount for the down payment, and you could pay me back slowly, interest-free, or just pay a very low rent, whatever works. Consider it an early inheritance or a long-term loan." My father, ever practical, was hesitant at first. "Sarah, that's incredibly generous, but we don't want to burden you. And how could you afford such a big down payment from your freelance gigs?" My mother, however, saw an opportunity. She barely acknowledged my generosity, instead focusing on the house itself. She visited it, fell in love instantly, and started planning their move before my father even had a chance to fully process it. She attributed my generosity to my guilt over my failure to meet her expectations. In her mind, I was probably trying to buy her affection or make up for not being Mark. She told her friends that poor Sarah was trying her best and doing what she could to help her struggling parents, conveniently omitting the part where she'd be living in a house almost entirely funded by my struggles. She told them I had helped with the down payment, and that they were renting from me at a very generous rate, implying I was merely a helpful landlord, not the sole owner. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Here I was, watching my mother bask in the luxury of a home I provided, while she continued to subtly belittle my life choices and financial situation. She was thriving, entirely due to my efforts, yet she still saw me as the underachiever. Every time she commented on my shoebox apartment, or my unstable career, it was like a tiny knife twisting. I could have exposed her, shown her all my financial statements, revealed the truth of my success. But a part of me, a deeply wounded part, wanted to see how far this charade would go. I wanted to see if her perception of me would ever change, even when she was literally living off my success. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have let her live in ignorance, or would you have dropped the bombshell? I decided to keep the secret. The house was fully furnished, every piece hand-picked by me, from the plush sofas to the state of the art kitchen appliances. My parents moved in, and my mother was ecstatic. She hosted dinner parties, bragging about her new house, never once crediting me beyond a passing mention of my generous contribution. The house became her pride and joy, a symbol of her elevated status, completely unaware that it was all a carefully constructed stage, with me as the invisible puppeteer. The incident that finally broke me happened during one of their housewarming parties. It was a beautiful evening, the house filled with laughter and the aroma of my mother's cooking. I was helping her in the kitchen, slicing vegetables, when one of her friends, a rather nosy woman named Brenda, cornered me. "So, Sarah," Brenda chirped, "your mother tells me you're still doing that art thing, and still in that tiny apartment. Before I could answer, my mother walked into the kitchen, overheard Brenda, and with a dismissive wave of her hand, chuckled, "Oh, Brenda, you know Sarah. She's 30 and still renting a shoebox. Bless her heart, she tries. At least she helped us with this place, didn't you, dear?" She gave me a condescending pat on the shoulder, her eyes twinkling with what I can only describe as a mix of pity and smug superiority. In that moment, something inside me snapped. The years of being underestimated, dismissed, and openly ridiculed, all while I was secretly providing her with the very comfort she boasted about, surged to the surface. I put down the knife, turned to face my mother, and a cold, clear voice, one I barely recognized as my own, came out of my mouth. "Yes, Mom, I did help you with this place. In fact, I helped you with all of it. Every single square foot, every nail, every tile, every piece of furniture in this new house, I paid for it. Not just a contribution, not just a down payment. The entire thing, from the initial purchase to the 1.5 years of renovations to the full furnishing. It's all mine. And you're living in it, completely free, while you mock me for renting a shoebox and trying my best." The kitchen went silent. Brenda's jaw dropped. My mother's face, usually so composed, crumpled, her eyes, wide with shock, darted between me and Brenda. "Sarah," she stammered, "what are you talking about? Don't be ridiculous." "Am I ridiculous, Mom?" I countered, my voice growing stronger. "Do you want to see the deeds? The bank statements, the contractor invoices, all in my name, because I have them, all of them. And while you've been living it up in my asterisk house, enjoying the fruits of my unstable career, I've been silently enduring your condescension. Do you know how much I make, Mom? Enough to buy this house, cash, and still live comfortably in my shoebox. Enough to never have to worry about money again. Enough to build a life on my own terms, not yours." My father, attracted by the sudden silence, appeared at the kitchen door. He looked from my furious face to my mother's ashen one. "What's going on here?" he asked, sensing the tension. "Sarah's being absurd, dear." My mother tried to recover, her voice still shaky. "No, Dad, I'm not," I said, my gaze fixed on my mother. "I'm just telling Mom the truth she's been willfully blind to for years. The truth that her struggling daughter bought her dream house. The rest of the party was a blur." Brenda quickly made her excuses and left. My mother was speechless, utterly humiliated. My father, once he understood the full extent of what I had done and what my mother had said, looked at me with a mixture of pride and profound sadness. He knew I had been hurt. He apologized profusely, not for himself, but for her behavior. He said he had always known I was capable, but he hadn't realized the scale of my success or the depth of my resentment. The aftermath was difficult. My mother didn't speak to me for weeks. When she finally did, it wasn't an apology, but a series of accusations. She called me cruel, manipulative, and said I had deliberately set her up for public humiliation. I told her that she had done that all on her own, that her words and her judgment were the setup. Eventually, a fragile peace settled. She still lives in the house. I never asked them to leave or pay me back, and she still benefits from my generosity, but her tone has changed. The snide remarks have stopped. The constant comparisons to Mark have ceased. She's quieter, more reflective. Sometimes I catch her looking at me, and I see a flicker of something I hadn't seen before, respect. It's a start. I don't know if our relationship will ever fully heal, but at least the truth is out there, and I no longer have to pretend to be someone I'm not. So, that's my story. It was a painful way to assert myself, but perhaps it was the only way my mother would ever truly see me. I guess the moral of the story is that sometimes proving yourself means more than just achieving success. It means standing up for yourself, even against those you love, and demanding the respect you deserve. Like this video if you were on my side, subscribe for more stories like this, and please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. I'll see you all in the next story.